Hello, everyone. Glad to see you back here at Silver Tears Tarot. And a warm welcome to all of you who are joining us for the first time. We always have a couple of new people, and I always like to say welcome to those of you who haven't already been here. So I just want to really start out by saying I love that you guys have been sharing your progress with me. Sometimes you send me these little email notes, sometimes it's on social media, and I am amazed by it. With it, you often will send a question or two along with your story. And so here's a question that has come up a couple of times in the past few days. And it also came up a little bit in the last reading, or maybe it was the one that was right before that. I can't remember for sure. But I know I wanted to check into this for you. So we're going to look at how your person is feeling about reconciliation and potential reunion at this time. Um, and we'll just kind of jump into that, but I will say that, as always, it's a general reading. It's for all signs, and it's not going to resonate with everybody because it shouldn't resonate with everybody. But if it's you, if it's your story, then I would encourage you to go back and take a look at some of the other messages that have also come out, maybe some of the other videos. So this has been very much a connected series of readings, and so I like to make sure that people know that it's not just a bid for subscribers. It's also, guys, you need to know there's a whole story that has been unfolding for us here ever since I came out on YouTube. So if this is you, check it out. So we're going to start by looking at the energy that is between you right now. And actually, I'm trying to decide between these two decks. I'm going to start with this one and clarify with the other one, because I'm going to do that same thing that I've been doing, where I have the flow and just kind of roll throughout the reading, because it seems like that works so well. So the energy between you, that's where we're going to start. Um, just kind of understanding what is in that background. It changes as the days change, so that's one of those things that, even though I will often read for you guys every day, we find some things in that energy that are maybe emerging. Sometimes they're a result of other things that have kind of been going on in the background. Sometimes it's the moon. We've got a new moon coming up here in a couple of days. We've got the Queen of Swords in reverse, so this is a promising sort of energy. In the upright, the Queen of Swords is very much a card of, it's a feeling of cutting things out. It's a logical sense, but it's cutting things out and removing those so that you can transform. So here in the reverse, it's not so much that you would hesitate to remove things that clearly don't fit, but it's more a chance, or it's more a situation where it's not a rapid defensive removal of those things. So it's more a chance to be discerning and to think about the implications of something before cutting it out. So that's kind of the energy that I'm feeling between the two of you right now. Just that things are a little bit more discerning and a little bit more thinking, which is incredibly helpful when you're trying to decide how things might work out for a reconciliation or a reunion. And remember, a reconciliation is everybody getting on the same page. Reunion is where you actually get to come together, and so that reconciliation would come first. So sometimes they can happen at the same time, but reunion may be a little bit more. It might be a little bit slower. There is, though, this sense of happiness, abundance, energy flowing, getting together. There's a feeling that if you've got somebody who is generally very into themselves, this is a chance for them to feel a little bit more outgoing and a little bit more like they'd be interested in doing something that maybe they don't do every day. We've also got the Lovers card. So this is talking about the bond between the two of you. And this is energy that is happening between both of you. So you're both feeling a little bit of a, I wonder what it would be like to be in the same place right now. There's also this sense of the union itself. And so it's, you're probably able to feel on both sides that this is a union that, even when you're not in union in the physical, you're going to feel it very much in the energetic realm. So I'm definitely getting some of that. But we've got maybe a desire or a lack of desire to jump out and do something new and unexpected. So these two cards are showing that we see over here with the Lovers card and the Three of Cups, which is that card of abundance. There is a strong sense of you guys thinking about each other. It's almost like these come together to create that Six of Cups sort of I'm thinking about you, you're in my thoughts. And there's that sense of being a little bit more discerning and not automatically cutting things out and running away. So there is a very positive feeling in that. It's a little bit more laid back than what we've experienced here lately, but we also saw that there was going to be a little bit of that, a little bit more of that sense of being laid back, but it's not necessarily moving in the direction of a reunion just yet. That's what this card is telling us. And over here, it's telling us that there's a little bit of that still that in and out kind of feeling. So even though we've got some very positive things that we're able to see here, there's also still that sense of them not really being ready to move forward and yet having a reasonable amount of confidence. So this is a confidence that is building between the two of you, in the energy between the two of you. But as we can see over here, they're not yet ready to test it out and just kind of see what they're capable of doing. And I mean, it's there's still a lot of fear here. Definitely still a lot of fear, but there is also the sense of having reaped what you've sown to a certain degree. So you invested something. This feels more like your energy to me. Whereas a lot of this it's been shared, but it's a little heavy on your person's side, especially as we start to get into the Two of Cups and the Princess of Wands in reverse, where we see some of that resistance to coming together. A lot of that sits on their side, but this confidence is very much shared between the two of you. Over here, though, we've got a Nine of Pentacles, and this talks about um, you did something, you invested something, and it has started to come back to you. So this feels like an emotional investment that you made in yourself more than an investment that you made in somebody else. And but that it's starting to it comes back making you stronger even so, and more capable of that discerning sort of energy that we see up here with the Queen of Swords. So we've also got the Queen of Cups that's coming out here, and the Queen of Cups is all about love. It's love, but it's also about lack of guardedness. So there's a lot of vulnerability in this. This again is just like this card over here is feeling more like it's heavier in your energy. Not that your person isn't feeling love for you. It's more just that this is unbounded love that allows you to act on it. That's the kind of feeling that wants to come out of here. I have some Queen of Cups, some decks where the Queen of Cups feels like it very much keeps the love inside and doesn't want to get out there and discuss it too much. But this is not that one. This is a very willing to talk about it kind of Queen of Cups, willing to act on it. And I'm going to go ahead and leave this right here. It feels like we don't need more cards there. I just kind of go until this is very much by feel. So if it's confusing, just know it's not necessarily always based in a logic. It's based in I draw cards until I feel like it's time to stop. So the next question that we're going to look into, we've seen your energy that's happening between the two of you. Now we're going to look at basically how they are feeling about the concept of reunion itself. So this is the question that we came here to answer, but it's how they're feeling about reunion. How are things really stacking up for them at this point? Are they feeling like they want to come back? We see that there's a little bit of them wanting to come back, but also a little bit of fear that's keeping them, or a lot of fear that's keeping them from doing it. I think we're going to learn more about it here. I'm just really curious to understand because based on some of the conversations that I've been having, and I'm still talking to that divine masculine, you guys. We're going to do another reading tomorrow, by the way, that is another messages from your divine masculine. Because if you guys recall, a little while ago, we did a reading, and it was after a conversation that I had had with this particular divine masculine who was willing to talk to me, but was very uncomfortable, obviously, in doing so. Obviously, not my own divine masculine. But the one thing that he was saying is he was having a hard time kind of accessing some of his feelings. And he was saying, I would like to see what comes out if you were to do a reading on those thoughts and feelings that are maybe hidden and afraid to come out, because he was feeling like he's not able to put those into words. So that's what we're going to look at tomorrow. But this is helpful also, I guess, just in understanding how it feels to think about that reunion. This is exactly the sort of feeling that I've been hearing, and not just in these readings, but also in that conversation that I have had as recently as we've sent another email back and forth this morning. So the Page of Wands in reverse is we're borrowing a little bit of that Page of Swords in reverse, skittish sort of feeling. But what we've got here is this telling themselves that they are not interested to move forward because it is so much simpler for them that way. So they're telling themselves that reunion would be really tough, that there would be some things they'd absolutely have to address. And this is true. There's a sense of an apology being needed, definitely some communication, and things would not be able to go forward the way that they have. So it's not surprising that that might feel a little bit daunting to someone who has not maybe certainly hasn't interacted with you in that way, but maybe also just hasn't interacted that way. So, they have not had a relationship where they truly let somebody in, and you got really close, and that's one of the things we keep seeing. You have gotten closer than most anyone. And we've got two cards that came up and want to be used. One of them is the Ace of Swords, fell down on the floor. And the other one is the Six of Swords, and it's in reverse. So we're going to talk about both of these, but we're going to talk about them in this order. Or, sorry, this order. So we've got the Page of Wands talking about I'm pretending like I'm not even curious about this. So the Page of Wands, the piece that comes out for me is the curiosity. And especially what I'm seeing is I refuse to allow myself to be curious. And so that is your person avoiding because it seems easier to do so. They're very much aware of some of these new truths that we've seen coming through. So if you guys remember back in January or so, I think it was, the Ace of Swords seemed like it was coming out in every single reading. It was your person being barraged by this new truth, and they were in many cases not ready for it. They were having a hard time assimilating it into their worldview, just a hard time taking it all in. So there's been some progress there. And we've seen a fair amount of progress on your person's side. This is one of the places where it has occurred. They're definitely more aware of what that new truth is, what those new truths are, because it's not really one thing. It's like this conglomeration of things that has been peppering them over time. And so they're getting a little bit better at opening their eyes to it, but not really. It's still pretty scary. With the Six of Swords in reverse, this is about their emotions not having slowed down. So one of the things that they need to be able to do, and if this was in the upright, then what we would be seeing is everything is calming down enough that you can actually kind of take a look at the situation, understand what's going on there, and feel a little bit better about things. But here in the reverse, that's really not what's happening. Instead, it's this matter of things are not slowing down. Things are not necessarily getting easier for them to understand. They are not having an opportunity to reflect on these new truths that are very much very important. Then we've got the Hierophant that has come out here. So this is a little bit of what we're seeing in these first few cards that came out to clarify this Queen of Swords in reverse. One of the things that we saw was your person's doing a lot of thinking of you. You guys are doing a lot of thinking of each other. But then we saw this skittishness on their side, or this inability to move forward, even though they're feeling the union. And here they are really feeling it, but they're also not feeling like they can move forward. There's something that is very much in the way. We also know from the universe card here in reverse that they're not done. There's something that they're just not ready to move forward yet. So we've got the prince, or I'm sorry, yeah, the Prince of Wands. Which is very similar to the Knight of Wands kind of energy. So this is a passionate forward movement that matches with this Hierophant. It's like they get infused with this desire to move toward you, and then they want to move toward you. They're consumed with the fact that things are not over. But then they aren't quite sure how to move forward, and they haven't got that ability. This is clarity, okay? When we see this in the upright, it's clarity. And so they're not feeling like they have the clarity right now to be able to move forward. That's creating some issues in them right now because they have a strong desire. But because of the fears that they are also feeling, they're not able to even put that into motion at this time. They're too busy telling themselves that they don't actually want to do this anyway. So I guess that's there's a lot of conflict. So if it seems like it's inconsistent, it is because it's inconsistent. And I guess that was the last one we wanted out of that, but we're not done pulling cards on this. So we've got okay, Fortitude. This is the Nine of Wands in reverse. Here we're talking about guarding a wall that no longer needs to be guarded. That's typically that energy that we've been seeing come out with the Nine of Wands. Also a little bit of that wounded warrior sort of energy. But the thing is, with your person adopting and being aware of these new truths, they're having a hard time staying in that, which is why this card has really gone into the reverse. So they are eroding some of the defenses that they have been using and hiding behind. And it's like this curtain of defenses they've been hiding behind, and they have drawn that curtain and discovered that they could walk out, they could move forward. They're also being drawn to move forward, but they've got a lot of fear about doing so. And that is basically how they feel about this reunion and this reconciliation. I think we're going to jump into a little bit more about your person's feelings when we go into the extended here, because I can see that there's a lot of their awareness that seems like it's coming out. And we've seen that in previous readings where they're becoming more aware of things. They're more aware than maybe we thought they were about certain things. There is some healing going on with them. So that's the Four of Swords. More healing is going to be required in order for them to be able to move toward reconciliation and reunion, but we can see that it's happening, and it's very strong that it's happening. We also see that with the Princess of Swords, which I frequently like to call the minor arcana fool. And it's this willingness to jump out and do something new, willingness to to really try something that maybe hasn't been proven. And so that's the kind of energy that needs to grow in order for this to be possible for the two of you to come back into a reconciliation. But it seems like there's some really favorable energy that you're moving toward that. And I'm sure that, with everybody in different parts of the timeline, in some cases it's faster than it is in other cases. But it's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing, just the sense of everything. Slowly but globally moving in the right direction for you guys. So the last question that we're going to ask is the one that I like to ask. It's, so what should you be doing about it? Here we've got some hidden energies that you are basically not allowed to see, or not able to see from where you're standing. We see how they're feeling about the reunion. And in light of this current energy between the two of you, it seems like it's not moving immediately, or if you do hear from your person, the healing isn't quite done. So we definitely see that element of it. So we're going to look to see where you could be focusing. What could you be doing about that in light of all this? And this is that's one of my favorite things to make sure that we have in a reading, because it'll give us that practical advice. Okay, you are to jump into something new. So you've got the Fool. The Fool card that's the same kind of energy that we have here with the Princess of Swords, only this is the major arcana version of it. So instead of kind of feeling like, oh, you know what, I could do this, this is like, I'm ready to jump in and fully commit. So you guys, a few days ago, I did a reading on how to find your passion, because we had had so many of these readings come through saying that you need to identify that thing that's going to create some passion in you and light a flame in you that allows you to divert some of your energy into this new thing. It's going to be relevant to this. It's going to be something that maybe you're already using to soothe yourself. So I mentioned, if you write to help ease your mind, maybe it's writing a book. And of course, that's just one example, may only apply to a couple of you, but it's that same concept. And so this is saying, jump in. Absolutely jump in. If you've got some reservations, and based on what we saw, you probably do, feel free to just go ahead and jump in, because this is going to be huge and transformative, and you will never be the same. Also, this is part of what this has been leading you toward. So the situation with your person has been leading you toward learning some new things. Oh, and by the way, this reunion that you're also heading towards is going to teach you a few more things, not the least of which being places where you still have left to heal. So one of the things that you really want to focus on, this is the High Priestess in reverse, and this is a message that we've been getting over and over. is to ensure that you are well connected with your higher self. Take the time every day to get yourself connected to your higher self every single day. Your higher self, your higher power, it takes many forms. It can be meditation, it can be prayer. Back in October, I did a wasn't a reading, it was a video on how to meditate, how to get started with meditating. Because some of you get in there and you're like, okay, I love the idea, but like, where do I start? Give me the 101 version. And so that was what I did back in October. So if you want, you can check back there, or you can even look in the playlists. There's like a bonus videos playlist, and you'll find how to find your passion as well as how to meditate in that list, plus all the monthly thank yous. So if you've never seen an extended reading before, you can check that out because I do it right in front of you. I like, after I clean up these cards, I shuffle everything, and then we launch right into the extended reading. So here we have the Strength card, and this is about it's strength of mind, it's patience, it is the thing I want to call out about this strength card is that we know that strength is always an interaction with fear. So when we see strength winning out, it's because it is winning out over fears. When we see this card in the reverse, we know that there are fears winning out over the strengths. So you'll often see the person is depicted with a lion in the strength card. And in this particular case, it's great because the lion is not, it's not real. It's not a live lion. This one's made out of stone. And so there's really nothing to be afraid of. And so she's utilizing her strength to overcome some fear. And as she gets up there, she realizes there's really nothing to fear. So that's not something you're going to find that. You're going to find that you get up to something and you've stood up to it and you get all the way there and you're like, wait a minute, this is not what I anticipated. This is not what I thought I was getting myself into. And you'll be very happy. That's going to be part of what defines you as you come into this situation, as you jump in, as you execute on this major arcana fool card energy, jumping into something completely new. You're going to discover that some of the things that maybe you were afraid of, there was no need to be afraid of. So this is the 5 of coins, and it is about letting yourself out of fear. It is sometimes it's about letting yourself in from out in the cold. In this case, it's about letting yourself in from a fear that likes to hold on to you, and letting yourself out of a broken heart that is also wanting to hold on to you. We have significant change that is happening with you. And I'm sorry, I'll go back and say what these are. I was just kind of flowing with it and watching the story develop. So this is the 5 of Pentacles, or I think it's in this card the 5 of Discs. This is the 3 of Swords. Both of these are in reverse. So these are really cards that in this context I would love to see in reverse. Here we've got the Death card, and the Death card talks about change rather than talking about death in a literal sense. And then we've got, so that is change, change that is happening, that happens along the course of this. It's not just you change so that you can jump in. It's also you jump in so that you can continue to change. And then here we've got the 7 of Cups. The 7 of Cups is about having a bunch of options, but you've got to look closely at those options. Don't short yourself looking closely at those options, because that's going to be partially how you get to pick and choose your path forward. You're talking about wanting to manifest your path forward, but this is how it happens. This is the energy that you need to bring to yourself, where you get to see what all the options are, and then you get to really look at them. Now, sometimes fear will cloud your judgment. We'll see that the 7 of Cups brings with it a very cloudy energy. That's always possible. So what you're encouraged to do here is to try and avoid the with the clouds. Try and allow yourself to see it for what it truly is, because a lot of those clouds are going to be placed there by your own fear. And here we have the 8 of Cups. So 8 of Cups is, in this case, it's really about coming into yourself, accepting truly what you are, what you can do, what you're capable of. Not just that, but also that emotional self mastery that comes with it. The 8 of Cups is not always about emotional self mastery. A lot of times I think of that more associated with the 8 of Pentacles, but it's really coming out here. And that's why it was kind of confusing me a little bit. 'Cause I'm like, man, this feels like, doesn't feel like the 8 of Pentacles. It feels like that's part of what you're finding on your way to finding your happiness. So let's grab an oracle card to kind of bring everything together for you a little bit. We've seen that your person is a little bit hot and cold about reunion, and in this case, they are very much still behaving in that hot and cold sort of way. But we also can see why a little bit. We're going to look a little bit more into that when we get to the extended to see again how they're feeling. And then maybe we need to know a little bit more about what you can expect there, because I think we've hinted that you can expect a reunion, but we don't really know too much about it. So we'll get deeper into that when we get into the extended. And again, I do these thank you readings once a month. So I've got another one that'll be coming up here in a few days, and you'll be able to see I'll do this reading and then I clear all the cards, shuffle everything, and then just start doing the extended right there. It's all in the same video. So those are neat if you've never seen one. Otherwise, we're going to be going to the extended here in a few minutes after I get you an advice card. And hopefully I'll see you there. We should have a link for that extended down below the video. Oh, let's see here. There's meditation again. So I'm going to set it here. I usually like to set it here because it's a good balance, and it's also advice for you. A lot of times this is advice just in general about how to move forward given the rest of this situation. Meditation, we saw it up here, we saw it through here, and we're seeing that again, this message is really kind of being echoed and reiterated. Meditation is going to be part of what gets you where you need to go. Now, it doesn't have to always come in the form of a very, like the meditation that I talked about in October's reading or in October's video. You could just go ahead and leverage the same prayer you've always been using if you are a prayer person. If you, any way that you are able to connect with your higher self and your higher power, that is ideally what you're going to be doing. You're going to be establishing that connection even more solidly as time goes on. So that's going to be where I leave it for this reading. As I said before, we've got the link for the extended down below, so you're welcome to join me there. Otherwise, thanks so much, and I'll see you again in another reading.